Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing here at the fair? Well, it is a beautiful day to be here, and you guys are very fortunate because we have an exciting panel here for you today. So everybody who is coming here to take advantage of this opportunity are the luckiest people at the fair today. So give yourselves a big round of applause for that. My name is Vivian Chow, and I'm very pleased today to be able to moderate a wonderful panel. And a little bit of background on myself. I am the current president of Ascend Namba, which is an association focused on development of Asian business professionals in the Twin Cities. In my day job, I work in strategy and marketing for a food company, and in my spare time, I do things like this, moderate panels. So I'm very excited to be here today to host a panel discussion with members of the Minnesota GOP affiliate groups. And there are 9 groups in total, but today we have representatives from 4 of those groups. So in just a minute, I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves as well as the group that they're a part of. For those of you who don't know what an affiliate group is, these groups are essentially somewhat ambassadors for the party, and they share and promote Republican values. So they work specifically within different communities across Minnesota, and they have a number of activities, from organizing events, identifying supporters, and with a primary goal to welcome new people to the party and grow party support. And in some case, they will also provide a voice to people within their communities that might not otherwise be heard. So a lot of great work that's being done by this group of people. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to them and let each one of our panelists introduce themselves and share a little bit about the affiliate group that they represent.
Thank you. I'm Aaron Eberhard. I am the Executive Director for the Minnesota College Republicans. Just like our name shows, we cater to the college students around the state. We have over 15 chapters right now in the North Metro and the South. We help impact congressional races, the gubernatorial races, Senate races, and President Trump won 18 to 24-year-olds by 5 points over Secretary Clinton this last election. So that's what we do.
Hello, I'm Mike Moy. I'm part of the Asian American Affiliate Group. We're actually brand new. We just started this year, and one of our main point is actually start utilizing how much Asian Americans there actually are in Minnesota. Based on stats alone, they actually equal the same amount as African Americans in Minnesota. There's actually a lot more than you think we are. So we're excited to meet them. We actually go to a lot of their festivals and actually get a chance to be a representation of Minnesota GOP in all those different festivals. So we're excited.
Hi everybody, Ben Cosell here, native of Minnesota. Actually, let me start over. I was born in Mexico, but adopted at a very young age, came to Minnesota here and was raised here since. So Jennifer and I, the new chairwoman, immediately connected, given our past, being adopted, and all the wonderful opportunities we have in this country. Also very proud of the fact that I'm part of the Hispanic Republican group within Minnesota. We have some work to do with this group, and we can't ignore them. Not all of us are here. We didn't swim across the Rio. We're not all illegal. There's many of us that are professionals, have advanced degrees. We want to contribute to society. We want to help our neighbors, and just so proud to be a part of the party, and looking forward to talk more about the Hispanic Republican Assembly.
Good afternoon, I'm Barbara Linnert. I'm a representative from the Republican Seniors of Minnesota. This group has been around forever. We're older than dirt. But I think we have an interesting recent history. About 6 or 8 years ago, the group had a membership of only about 20 people. And we've grown now we have a membership of about 150 paying annual members. We meet once a month, and starting at age 50 and on up, you can join the Republican Seniors of Minnesota and come to our meetings and hear some fabulous speakers.
Wonderful. I'm going to keep it down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask this illustrious group a series of questions and to get a little bit more insight about what they're working on and what the affiliates do. And then I'm also going to open it up to all of you guys for questions. So start thinking about questions now. Anything you want to ask these guys is fair game. So we'll come down a little bit. But I'm going to start with a couple of questions, and I'm going to start with a question for Barbara. So Barbara, why is it important to have an affiliate group for the seniors, or for the rest of you, for your community within the Republican Party?
Oh, sure. That is a great question. I think that we all, across the spectrum of demographics, have the common theme of being conservatives and have conservative values. each of you guys agree with that, I'm sure. But within each of those demographic groups, we do have kind of separate interests and separate lifestyles and different activities that we like to do, and maybe different foods that we like to eat at our meetings. So like, if I was going to join the College Republicans, they probably meet at night past my bedtime and probably eat pizza and drink beer, and that's just not me anymore. Might have been a while ago. So the Republican seniors, all our meetings are more tailored for a retired person's lifestyle and timetable. We meet on a weekday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we get home in time to watch Matlock.
So Barbara, do you think in addition to just convenient meeting times and similar eating patterns, are there other benefits, or are there other causes that ring more with the senior community that you're really trying to address?
Yeah, definitely. I think each demographic group also has different issues and different legislation maybe that they follow. I know that the Republican seniors went and testified at some of the committee hearings when they were going to discuss passing the law that would eliminate tax on Social Security benefits here in Minnesota. We met with several committees down at the Capitol to do that. Maybe that's not an issue that the rest of you guys would have been following very closely, but each group has their own issues and their own specific things that are more tailored to what your needs are. So that's an example.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mike, I'm actually going to ask you to answer the same question. Why do you think it's important to have an affiliate group for the Asian American Republicans of Minnesota?
So I'll start with this little story. So back in college, I was a senior in college, and I was walking around. I actually became a conservative in college, unlike most people. And so when I became a conservative in college, I actually had a DFLer approach me at the university and said, "Hey, are you going to the DFL thing tonight?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you have to be a DFLer, right?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And he's like, "Tell me why." And he's like, well, and he kind of made these sweeping things about, how all Asian Americans support it, or how everybody, of minority status is probably a DFLer. And I remember after that conversation, I didn't say anything, I didn't correct him, but I spent a lot of time thinking about how much a lot of minorities hear the message of, if you're a minority, you're part of the DFL. And I just don't think that's true. I think Asian American values have so much to say that align with the GOP that they would ever imagine. And so a lot of the time for Asian Americans, it's just being a presence there and helping them understand what the values of the GOP are and explaining that. I remember I go to the Hmongtown Festival this year, or the Dragon Festival, or the Hmong Soccer Tournament, wherever these festivals are, and people just come up and they actually agree with us. And they said, "I've only voted DFL before," and we actually get a chance to share with them that there actually is another party in Minnesota for minorities other than just the DFL. So I think that's really why the affiliate group matters.
That's great. It's great to hear the amount of outreach that you're doing and the number of people you're connecting with.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have you pass the microphone over to Aaron. So Aaron, what unique perspective do you feel that your group brings to the Republican Party?
As young conservatives, we bring a totally different perspective than you'll see on TV. We don't want free college. We don't want just benefits. We don't want handouts. We want opportunity. We want jobs. We want a good economy. We want to reduce the national debt. We want to provide for our children whenever that comes down the line better than we had it. So that's a different outlook than you'll see anywhere else. A lot of college students don't get it yet. You have to slowly kind of open up to them. They don't even really know the talking points. So you have to explain what we believe in. Jobs is a big thing for us, though. The economic outreach is what we need to do, and I think we're doing a great job of that.
Okay, great. So a lot of concern about the economic situation and other things that it's great to hear that college students are planning. Okay, Ben, I'm going to ask you the same question. What unique perspective do you feel that your group brings to the Republican Party?
I think that our group, falls in line similarly with the other affiliates. Our issues are very common. For example, we care in strong educational opportunities. We believe in a strong economy, particularly with the Hispanic population. I think there's lots of opportunity there for growth with the voting population. We're very strong pro-life, we're very pro-family. We're really embedded with one another in our community. We're very service-oriented, and we're willing to work for what we get. So I don't know if that fully addressed your question, but I think it's also important for for us as a party to have us as an affiliate so we can at least challenge the status quo, especially in like Minneapolis and St. Paul. If you're a Hispanic, African American, Asian American, across the board for people of color, are DFL policies working for you? How's the educational gap doing? I mean, it hurts my heart actually. And I don't say that with, angst, but I mean, it hurts my heart to see that we're failing these populations, 60% graduation rates, 50%. I mean, that's just horrible. So I think there's lots of opportunity. The more that we can challenge status quo, policies, the better.
Thanks, Ben. That's great to hear. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, though, on that.
Okay.
Can you describe some of the work that your group has done and what you'd like for your group to focus on next?
Sure. Specifically with the educational gap, I think it was about a month ago, we've really had an amazing community champion, Rick Aguilar. Where is he? There he is, Rick. Yeah, Ricky, he grew up here. His family has served in the military. Carmen Robles, another individual community activist. These are people that have dedicated themselves to community service, and so our group is aligned with Rick. And it was about a month ago that we put on an educational summit where we had various policymakers from federal and state level government come and share their thoughts on how we might be able to lessen that achievement gap within schools. So we are all about getting out and getting active. And I think generally as Republicans, we don't look for government to provide all the solutions. We understand that sometimes the best way to meet our social and moral obligations to one another is through service. Right now you see it in the hurricane reactions, people are helping people, and that's where we have to get to is we're all in this together, and so we really try to get out and look for service opportunities.
That's really great. Barbara, did you also... Oh, yes, please. Deserves a great round of applause. Barbara, did you also want to share a little bit about the work that the seniors group has been working on?
Yeah, one of the things that I think the primary focus that the Republican seniors have is we try to educate our members and the people who come to our meetings on why we believe what we believe. What is it behind the issues that we take the stand on. And we bring in speakers from a lot of the organizations the other conservative organizations in the state, like the Center of the American Experiment, nationally, the Heritage Foundation we've brought in to try and educate people about why we want the kind of legislation that we want. We've had speakers from law enforcement. I know Rich Stanek has been there. We've had speakers who are professors at colleges and leaders in industry, leaders in the energy industry to explain to us about fossil fuels. And we try to educate people in that way. And our goal in doing that is to help people to get more involved, to connect more with their representatives and their senators, to try and make sure that we're communicating with them and following what they're voting for and contacting them and going down to the Capitol and emailing them and calling them and saying, hey, this is what we want passed, and this is why we want it passed.
That is great. A lot of really great work that's being done. Okay, I'm going to turn my next question over to Mike. Mike, what contributions do you feel that your group can make to the party, and what would you really like to see the Asian American Republicans focusing on?
Well, at the moment, we're trying to build it up, because right now, we are a brand new group, and so a lot of our efforts right now is just being present at these events. It's one thing, and I think it's really funny. So I have, a small story. I have a lot of stories. But I think the difference between having a GOP booth manned by a lot of people from the GOP is fine. But one thing it means to actually have these Mungtown events being staffed by people in the Asian American who are actually Asian American. It means a lot to speak to people of the same value and actually being able to showcase that we have the same background and we can really express that well, even the same language barrier. So I think that's been really powerful to do when I've actually met people who speak Chinese and actually get to speak with them in Chinese. It's a different message than just from a different messenger. I also think the big thing right now is to raise up support, not only financially, but actually getting people to get involved with our group. I know we're brand new, but that doesn't mean that we're just going to be sitting on our hands this whole time. Our hope is to be a presence in all these different events and to actually be able to support the GOP from events we haven't heard of before. So I think that's our main focus right now.
That's great. Aaron, can you also share why what contributions you feel that your group can make to the party? So, what do you really think that Minnesota College Republicans should be focused on, and how they can help the Republican Party?
There's lots of things that college Republicans are focused on, and I think the most important thing is the youth. People think of old people as the Republican Party. No disrespect to our lovely seniors, but the college Republicans bring a different youth and vigor to it. Everybody's always happy to help out, happy to be involved. Like I said, President Trump won 18 to 24-year-olds by 5 points in Minnesota. The youth vote is better than people think. We're working to flip that on college campuses. We're working to get in there, sort of like the Asian American affiliate is, to get in there and share our values so people don't just get indoctrinated and they feel like they have to be part of the DFL. When they see there's another option with values they share, that's when they'll switch, and we just need to help spread our message, which I think we're doing a great job of doing.
It's really great. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so Aaron, I'm also going to ask you a follow-up question, which is, if people are already involved in the Republican Party, then why should they get involved specifically with an affiliate group? So why would they want to get involved with you?
Because we have fun.
I like that, short and succinct.
We have a great time. We get involved in community events. College campuses are always a great time. Pizza at our meetings. That's right.
Barbara was right. There is pizza.
That's right. We always get involved. We see other young people. It's a great time. Keep it short and sweet for you.
So, Aaron, did you want to? Thank you for. Can you pass the mic over to Ben? And I'm going to ask him the same question. So, if people are already part of the Republican Party, why should they get involved specifically with the Hispanic Republican Assembly?
I think it's an area that we really need to improve upon as far as our electorate, and where we need to make improvements for winning elections. I think too often this populace is not marketed to. They're not, we're not digging out there enough to really get these votes. And part of that, I think, is putting some things into Spanish, maybe hitting some key areas, precincts. But yeah, we really need to make an effort. I think it was the Bushes that they may have polled like almost 40%, 45% in some of the elections and re-elections. And we can't have some of these groups voting 80% Democratic. We have to start presenting our ideas, and they align very well with these cultures. So that's why.
So hope everybody's taking notes and that you're convinced, because I'm sure there'll be a call to action at the end of this.
Can I answer that question?
Yes, Barbara has a question.
I just wanted to answer that question too, if that's all right.
Yes, please.
I think that one of the reasons you might want to look into joining the seniors, or if you can't, if you're too young to join, that's fine. We don't check IDs. If you want to bring in an ID that says you're 50 or older, that's fine. But we have fabulous speakers. I told you that starting about 6 or 8 years ago, the group really started to grow, and part of it is because this guy that we have who brings speakers in has these fabulous connections. His name is Don Patton, and he's a retired colonel in the I better not say I don't know if it's the Marines or the Air Force, and if I say the wrong one, he'll hate me forever. But he has these fabulous connections, and we've had speakers in, like in 2014, we had an FBI intelligence analyst come in and tell us about what the FBI is doing to track some of the terrorist organizations in Minnesota. We've also had Pete Hegseth from Fox News come in. So it's a very educational and opportunity at a very low cost to come in and hear some speakers that you're not going to hear just anywhere else, and learn a lot more about what the Republican stands for and why they stand for what they stand for.
So it sounds like some really great programming that you offer. And I'm assuming if you don't have pizza, you still have other snacks.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything but pizza.
Okay, so Ben, since you're holding the microphone now, I'll ask you, are there requirements to be part of your affiliate group? Do you have to be a part of the Hispanic community to be part of your group?
We do have a membership application that asks some very basics about your alignment with the Republican principles and philosophies. We also meet on a monthly basis, so people that are interested, are invited to come, and so we try to make sure that the people that are coming are people that are committed to winning elections and are in fact, GOP. Beyond that, we have a minimum of membership, which is very low. It's $25 on an annual basis. And so, and also as a part of our monthly meetings, we're down at Boca Chica on the west side, and I'm not sure if anybody's eaten there, but they have amazing Spanish food, Mexican food. So, yeah, it's good. So, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to open it up to see if anybody else has questions that they'd like to ask this group. If not, you'll be hearing more questions from me, but I'm sure it'll be a lot more interesting coming from you guys. So I'm going to come down to the audience here. Does anybody have a question that they'd like to ask? Yes. See if I can get the mic over here.
Well, thank you, and I want to address this question to Ben, because I think what he said made a lot of sense about reaching out to Latinos. That this past election, the national Hispanic media went total out 100% for Hillary. Total out. They were using the racism charges on Bush. They were using Build the Wall. They used everything they could. And to their surprise, Latinos voted 30% with Trump. So we do have a conservative base, yeah. Underneath all that, so how do you see, Ben? Maybe get a little more explicit. What can we do as candidates for this upcoming important governor's race? How do we make sure, because Latinos vote 30% here in Minnesota, how do we get to 45%?
That's the million-dollar question. I wish I had the full answer. But I think we have to work at it together. We definitely need candidates reaching out to our affiliate. I think that we have members that are very active, they've been active, they're professionals in their communities, and we would love to share ideas with individual candidates and help them with strategy on how they might be able to hit the populace, specifically with maybe targeted marketing and media. So I think that's one thing that we would like to avail ourselves of, is to be available for these candidates, and we would like to see their commitment to this electorate, so we can try to gain some more votes there.
Is it fair to say that there should be probably a lot of grassroots efforts and really education and awareness of really what the party has to offer?
Yeah,
I would say so. Yes.
Can I personally answer that question? But for Asian Americans, not for... I remember when I first met Jennifer, which was a couple months ago, probably in the beginning of the year, she told me a story, and I asked her why she ran for, I think it was House Representatives in St. Paul, a place where people, Republican, they haven't seen a Republican for, years and years and years. And she said something really profound. She said, our goal was to move the needle slightly. If we win, if we don't lose by like 80%, instead we lose by 75 or 70%, we win the whole state. And she talks about how much it matters to not give up on the cities. And right now the strategy shouldn't be evacuate the cities, work on the rural areas, but or the suburbs or whatever, but really spending time in the cities. And I think that really matters, because there are a large population of people. I mean, you go to Monktown, everyone lives in North St. Paul, and it's worth spending time in that area and actually investing effort into that area. Also, literature. I mean, I was surprised how much of our literature isn't even translated or isn't even finding a way to talk to people or having our videos subtitled or whatever that is, to actually have resources available in the languages that people speak. So that was another strategy.
Great, really great ideas. Okay, I think we had a question over here.
This question is for Ben.
Oh man, I'm getting tagged. No, this is good. Thank you.
So, I just want to know one thing. How do we approach towards Hispanics, right? To the Hispanic community, especially in Minneapolis, who tend to be usually more democratic than Republican. So, what's the best way as an approach to a Hispanic to another Hispanic, introducing them to the Republican Party?
I think that one of the ways that we have right now, which is immediately available, is on our website. HRAM has proactively gone, and we now have a website that's available, so people can come find out about what we are, why people who are Hispanic should vote Republican. So I think that is at least a start. We're also going to be looking to partner up with our other affiliates and trying to, together come up with different strategies for how we can outreach to these communities. So that's our goal.
And I would say that the same challenge exists across all of the different groups, regardless of which community they're looking at. And I think that one of the goals and focuses of this year is to share best practices and learnings across the different affiliate groups, as well as bring in learnings from other places. And so I think there's going to be a lot more of that, and a lot more things that we'll see, which will really help to drive all of these initiatives. Would anybody else like to address this question?
One other thing that I think is worth touching on too as well is the illegal immigration issue. I mean, a lot of people think Hispanics, and the first thing that comes to mind is illegal immigration. We believe that we believe in law and order within the Republican Party. We believe that that's the best protection for people. People who are supportive of illegal immigration and people coming here outside the bounds of the law are really, I think, subjecting them to a lot of victimization, being robbed their life savings to try to come here for opportunities. People don't really talk about kind of the side effects, so to speak, of illegal immigration. I think if people began to learn about that, that we might take some different approaches. Like, for example, like perhaps coming up with fines for people who are hiring people who are illegal here. If we discourage illegal immigration through that, I think that's more practical than some other ideas I've heard.
Barbara, do you want to address that as well?
I really connected with what Mike said earlier about going out into the community, not only having the people of the Asian people coming to your meetings, but also for you to go out to where they are. And that's what I connect with seniors as well. A few years ago, I managed the campaign for Representative Anna Wills from Rosemont. And one of the things I talked to her about was that in her district, she has senior housing, right, and senior homes for seniors. And I said the Democrats are great at this. They go into the senior housing and they have meetings in their group meeting rooms for all the residents to come down and meet them. Republican candidates don't typically do that. And I think that that's something that Republican candidates need to start doing more of, because they're starting to lose some of the senior vote as well, just because the Democrats are so good at going to where the seniors are and getting them those, what are the ballots that you get ahead of time before? Absentee ballots and all of the paperwork to get them registered to vote. And the Republicans have to start doing that too. They have to go out to the senior community, go to where they're living, reach out to them, and just introduce themselves and be a part of the process the way the Democrats have been dominating for years and years and years in this state.
Other questions? Yes, right here.
George Washington's over 6 feet tall. I'm not. This is more a suggestion than anything else, but there are many great conservative liberty thinkers of all ethnic groups around the world. For example, on your web pages, you should introduce some of these folks, like Hernando de Soto of Peru, the great free market economics. The history of Sun Yat-sen should be on your website. Freedom is for everybody. And if you can introduce to your folks, and I'm sounding so categorical, but there are leaders from your area all over the world that can bring this message forward, and they're your folks talking to your folks. Another thing, particularly for Ben, put up videos from Venezuela. This is what we're heading for if we don't get this right. That's it.
Great.
That's very great. Really like the suggestions, and certainly if people have other thoughts or ideas that they would like to share, this is a wonderful opportunity to do that as well. Doesn't have to be a question to the group though. Okay, I'm going to come back over here. And I'm sorry, I did not get your name the first time. Would you mind introducing yourselves? Rick Aguilar? Okay, I'm going to turn this back over to Rick.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment because I know this young man was asking about Latino outreach. And, of course, we have extensive media in Minneapolis. Radio, print, blogs, Facebook. And, one of the things we have to realize in Minnesota, Latinos, African Americans, and Asians have the worst high school dropout rates in the country. So the Democrats are asking for their support, and what do they get in return? They've got terrible education, terrible health disparities, and terrible economic disparities. That's our message. We're about school choice. If you want to win with minorities, go school choice. And you will get their vote because they're tired of it. They want their kids to learn, and it's just not happening with the Democrats in charge.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, and your name, sir? Hans? Okay, Hans, did you have another question that you wanted to ask?
This is kind of more of a tricky question, but what is one thing you think Republicans... Let me rephrase it. What is one flaw you think Republicanism has, and what is one solution that you, in your opinion, you can fix it?
Republicans have no flaws.
As evidenced by everybody in this group, right in this room right here.
No, I think that Republicans, have flaws, and probably one of the things is to that sometimes Republican groups tend to be an echo chamber. They just listen to themselves and they believe everything that they hear because the only thing they hear is the echoes of what they are saying. And we do need to, I encourage everybody, I listen to the AM 950, the Democrat radio station, not on a regular basis, but I tune in. And I think that's something that every Republican should do is listen to what the Democrats are saying. It helps you to argue with them. It helps you to find out why they believe what they believe, and that will help you bring them over to our side.
Another thing I think that's important for us to touch on is we're so good at proving our points and laying it all out and giving them percentages, giving them stats, and it's great, but we need to connect with people. We need to tell them our stories. We need to explain to them. We don't need to just say you're going to go from this tax rate to this tax rate, that's good for you. You need to explain to them that you're going to be able to get more in your pocket, to do more with your business, to do more for your family, to do more to invest in your kids' education, to do more to invest in your future. And if we can explain that to them more and connect with them more on our policies based on just throwing stats, putting charts up, I think that's where we start to win more, and that's where people start to see us grow. So.
I think one of the things that we struggle with, we're really good, again, doing that, saying the stats and being dry in some cases, but I think we need to start speaking values into the arguments. So people, how many times I heard as a kid or in college being like, you love people by showing them how much money you throw at the situation, or, all this stuff with socialism, free college for everybody and everything. But, we have to say, is that okay to steal money from one person to give it to another? Is it really okay values-wise to have a socialism mindset? And the answer is no, it's not. It's not okay to say you can tax somebody just because you voted for it. That's a values issue. And so I think one of the things that Republicans struggle with is talking about these issues, not just with the emotional appeal, but also talk about it in terms of this is a value problem. It's not enough for us to say economically our plan is better. It's also values-wise our plan is better because it gives more freedom, and it says not because you make money that makes you the worst person in the world, but it's how we use that money and having accountability with that.
Really great points there. Okay, other questions? Anybody else would like to bring something up? Okay, I will let you guys keep thinking. In the meantime, I'll ask questions. So, you guys have talked a lot about grassroots efforts and really getting out in the community, but one thing I'd like to understand is how are each of your groups actually connected to the broader party? So not just to the community, but how are you connected with your legislators? How do you guys stay connected with what's happening and what's happening within the party itself?
I can start out. We happen to have a couple of Hispanic legislators who are part of our group, and we're very proud of that. So that's how we stay tied. We're all a bunch of political nerds, so we follow, public policy, and we're following processes in the legislature, and always make ourselves available to, provide advice to the party and to help them understand how some of these policies affect, the Hispanic community, and provide advice that way.
The Republican Seniors of Minnesota is located we meet in Richfield, so we connect with those local legislators on a regular basis. They're always showing up. But we also have an open invitation to just about anybody, the CD candidates, the gubernatorial candidates, the statewide candidates. At each of our monthly meetings, we have like this main speaker that I told you about that's usually not a political person, but we also have other speakers that come in that are candidates, that are elected officials, and we make sure that we stay in touch with them. We ask them to give us updates on what legislation they're working on, and we keep our membership updated with that. through emails and through our website and through our Facebook page.
One of the ways we stay in touch with all our legislators is we help out in parades, we help out county fairs in the summer, we help them lid drop, we help them door knock during election seasons, and we invite them to our weekly meetings. That's what we do in Mankato, at least, and I know they do that around the state. We bring in people, we talk about our issues, and one of the main things we do is we have discussions. We ask people to show up to a meeting and kind of have a policy discussion. One of the ones I remember most from the last year was we talked about healthcare and how different policy changes could really help us and help not just the college community, but help America as a whole. It's tough to talk to college kids about stuff like healthcare, though, because you can just say, oh, with the Democrats, you just stay on your parents until you're 26. Just because it's good for you doesn't mean it's good for the country. And pushing stuff like that, I'm getting off topic a little bit here, but pushing stuff like that really helps people understand it's about a bigger picture. And connecting with our legislators is a really big deal because they value having young people help them out, and it's a great picture for both of us.
That's great.
Really fast, we get involved a lot at the BPOU level. I know that the Asian Affiliate Group is really involved with the CD4 right now because that's where a lot of a lot of our Asian American people are. But I know that partnering with other affiliate groups as well is kind of where we're headed to, and that's how we're going to stay involved in the greater GOP area.
So, Aaron, you and Mike both talked a little bit about kind of how you want people to get involved. And we've talked a lot here about opportunities for people to come to meetings, meet people. But what really are you looking for? How can people actually contribute and get involved beyond just coming and learning and showing up to a meeting?
There's lots of ways. People can show up to a meeting, they can go on Fox News, they can go on even CNN, MSNBC, learn about the issues. Develop your own perspective, and I think when people read about the issues and find out more, most people do discover they're conservatives. They want smarter spending, they want less government regulation, and they want to be able to do more for themselves. So even if people aren't looking to get involved and say, go help out on the ground grassroots efforts, if you just learn more about the issues, we think you'll develop more into a conservative and vote our way. And that's one of the biggest things, is just getting people to do a little bit more, and we'll start seeing waves of people coming into our party, I believe.
Okay, great. Thanks, Aaron.
So, can you repeat the question again? I just want to make sure I answer it right.
Oh, the question was, how else can people contribute and get involved beyond coming and certainly there's great opportunities for people to come to each of your meetings and to learn and to network. But but if they really want to get more involved and really try to help, what are the opportunities for them there?
Well, in a lot of ways, I'd say one, support the actual group. Because we're just starting right now, we don't have a lot of support internally quite yet. We don't have dues yet. We don't have paying members. But in a way, supporting us financially is one way to help out. But also the other way is starting to connect us with other people in the BPOUs who are Asian American, who actually might be an asset to us, part of it. I don't think it should be just a group for Asian Americans, but that's kind of where we are right now. And if we keep expanding and growing as a group, we would love to have more and more people who represent our values who would be willing to go into those communities. I think curiosity, I think it's also a big part too. I think the Asian American world is amazing. I think we have the best food by far. And part of that too is just being part of that culture. I think if you're interested, if you're curious, that would be a good place to go check it out. So.
Okay, food is coming up a lot in these, so it sounds like if nothing else, if you attend one of any of these groups meetings, you will be fed.
There's so much opportunity right now to give and to help with some of these significant, complex, challenging policy areas that we're dealing with right now. And I'm just going to delete that thing. Sorry about that. There's all kinds of opportunity right now, and we need everybody at the table. Your artist, your engineer. Good ideas come from every corner. And with the Hispanic Republican Assembly, we provide a forum that we can come discuss these issues, in a worry-free environment, and people's ideas are considered. Those are the sorts of things that have to happen, not just with affiliate groups, but larger, within the general public as well. I think that discourse, that listening to other people, that getting to know other people, being open and honest about your feelings and sentiments, and your political stances, we've kind of gotten away from that. Everything is now like short media bits, and with the media, everything's so biased now that you can't trust anything they're writing. It's beyond left. So there's a real lack of credibility for information that's out there, but that's all that people are being fed. So I think we provide a forum where you could come in person, sit with actual people, get to know, their viewpoints. We can talk about issues, and then from there we together come up with policy stances, ideas that we can then disperse throughout the party, and hopefully that changes our messaging, our positions, and can help translate into change.
One of the things that I've been pushing with the Republican seniors is to get more involved with social media, because the generation that's my age and older, this is new. But I think that there's so many ways to connect with. I find that most people are involved politically, it's because there's one or two issues that they really care about. And there are so many groups out there, like if it's education, there's an education group or two. If it's healthcare, there's conservative healthcare organizations out there. And to be able to connect with them on social media, on Facebook, follow their Facebook page, that way you can stay on top of what those groups are doing, what's going on with that issue that you care about. But another thing that we really push at the Republican seniors is to encourage people to get involved with the legislature. The Capitol building, the state office building, the new $90 million Senate office building, they're all the people's house. They're not locked. You can go there any day of the week and you can walk right in and walk around, and you don't have to get a pass. It's your house, it's the people's house. And you can find your legislator's office, go in and introduce yourself, and go to committee meetings, and go and watch the floor sessions and learn about how the process works. And then you can connect with the legislator who is on the committee that cares about the issue that you care about, the education committee or the healthcare committee. I think that's a really powerful tool that people underutilize, because on an average day when it's not the grand opening of the Capitol, if you go and walk around the state office building or something, there's nobody there except for staffers. And that shouldn't be. There should be regular people there every day of the week.
Okay, I'll open it back up again for questions from the audience. Is there anything that anybody would like to ask our lovely affiliates panel? Okay, Hans has another question for you guys.
This is more for the college Republicans. What's the best way to deal or how to survive in college when you're a conservative, but everybody else is liberal? They have these. I've actually seen some kind of the free speech zone kind of deal, but in reality, they're just like, you can say whatever you want, but at the same time, you can't. So how can we deal with such issues in college?
That's a great question. I'd say read up. Make sure you know your facts like the back of your hand. When professors start spewing their stuff, when they start telling you socialism's great, point out the facts. Make sure you know what you're talking about and argue back. Point that out, and if you have any problems, then you can raise a ruckus and cause some problems in the administration if they kind of blackball you for that. Do you have a follow-up? Oh, no. No, make sure you know your stuff. Speak up and try to talk to other people. Individual connections are what's going to win us. One by one conversation every day, one conversation with somebody who has a different viewpoint. Explain to them more. Tell them the facts. Tell them the story. Flipping one vote here and there is what's going to turn Minnesota red in 2018.
Okay.
Pardon me, I have a little follow-up there. I was in college a little while ago too, don't worry. I think part of for college is the phrase, gird your loins, prepare yourself, and realize that a lot of the conversations you have to have is with yourself. Like right now, if you come in without a political view in college, you're going to turn out to be a liberal unless you really try. And so I think part of the challenge is read up on it. I love Ben Shapiro personally. I have a lot of desire to actually read up people who are part of those arguments and be able to say, I want to represent myself well. I was part of, I was a biologist, and we were 98% atheist and also 98% liberal in my classes. And I was the only one, and my teacher always called on me saying, and from the conservatives, Mike. And eventually, it was kind of humorous. I actually, in my last paper, she actually told me to actually write what I believe and see what happens. I got an A- in the class, so I didn't fail. But it was great. But I remember in the beginning, I would just kind of write whatever she wanted me to spew out, and I did that for the first couple of times. But the last paper, I actually spoke my mind, and she actually liked it. So build that relationship with the professor. Don't realize that they're not your enemy, but they need to realize you're working hard and you're really trying to get what they're talking about.
I'd like to follow up too, just real quick. I wouldn't be afraid to raise your voice in class, because I guarantee you're not the only one. There's probably, at least a third or maybe half that agree with you. It's just that with the media, the tendency is to give the squeaky wheel the most attention. But Democrats' heads are still spinning because they're trying to figure out how the heck Hillary lost the election. So you're not the only one. There's so much enthusiasm right now for our values and principles, and we just have to build upon that and not be afraid to speak up.
Hans, really appreciate that question. I think everybody here is here because of what they believe in, and it's based on information and knowledge that you have. And I would just say, no matter what your beliefs are, feel free to. Everybody should feel comfortable and feel like they should be able to represent those and stand them up, and that's what this country is all about. So, can you introduce yourself and then ask your question?
My name is Berg. I'm going to go into college this fall at St. Catherine University, and I just have a quick question about, maybe if I were to, of course, express conservative views at the school, and because it's an all-girls school, I'm definitely going to get, a lot of backlash and fallout from people who have very leftist views. If I were to be, started to be targeted as a conservative by, the administration, they started to give me, a really hard time, even though I would be, being respectful to everyone else, but it's they're, really being awful to me just because I have different opinions than them. What other resources or organizations could I go other than FIRE, that free rights for education and college? What other resources other than FIRE could I turn to?
I'm going to give the mic to Erin in a second, but first I'm going to give you the advice I gave my 3 daughters when they went off to college. You're strong, you're feisty, you're brave, and you're going to stand up for what you believe in.
It's a great question. First thing to start off with, do you know who gave women the right to vote? It passed the House with 91% Republican support, only 59 Democratic percent. The Republicans voted for to give women the right to vote, and if you start to get persecuted on campus, talk to the administration. If the administration won't do anything, which they should, find somebody in there who will. If not, then you can go to some of those resources online. They have resources all over. Newt Gingrich was on Fox News a while ago. He was talking about if you start getting blackballed on campus and they don't do anything about it, you can file a lawsuit and big things will happen to the university. So if you ever start to get persecuted or anything like that, and one of those online resources you feel isn't doing a great enough job, definitely reach out to somebody in the party, send an email to anybody. All the way from the chair on down, anybody would be glad to help you with that.
So beyond that, though, beyond having to try to elevate, are there resources either for support, for guidance, for information, places where she can go, just to find other people who kind of help her with the message she's trying to share?
Definitely. We can start a chapter at St. Kate's. I think we already have one though, but you can get involved there. If not, we will start one. There's the state party. We'd love to help you out. We'd love to kind of help spread the word, get resources down there, help get you and whoever else is interested involved in the conservative movement. What was the rest of the question?
More about resources and places she could go.
The online resources are fine, but they'll just kind of help solve that one problem. They do a great job with it. But if you want to kind of get more traction and keep moving on that, the party, anywhere in the party is a great place to start.
Okay. Any other last questions? Anything else? Okay. Well, what I'd like to do is I would like to actually, because we're, a little cough here. I would like to kind of start to wind us down by allowing each one of our panelists another chance to talk really about why you should join their affiliate group. I told them this was going to be like their sales pitch. So I would love for them to each close by sharing a little bit about why they think that each of you should come and join their affiliate group. And they can even say why theirs is better than all the others up here. I told them that was okay too. Okay, so Barbara, you're going first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I feel like I've already done a lot of plugging for the Republican seniors in Minnesota and why, we're educational. We bring in these interesting speakers. So I'll just plug our speaker that's coming up. We meet the first Tuesday of every month. And this coming Tuesday, the day right after Labor Day, we've got a great speaker, Howard Rutt, who wrote Cardiac Arrest. and he's going to come in and talk about his fight with the Department of Justice, the 5 years of hell they put him through trying to shut down his business, Vascular Solutions, and how they tried to intimidate his employees and get them to lie, and how he finally won a 5-year court case against the Department of Justice. So please come. I would also encourage you, we're just joining the 21st century. We finally have a website. We have a Facebook page, Republican Seniors of Minnesota. Go to our Facebook page and like it. Do me a favor. And follow us on Twitter. We're even on Twitter. Hey, you know, we're getting with it. So that's all. I just want to wrap up with that. This Tuesday, September 5th, at the American Legion in Richfield, Howard Root is our speaker.
And Barbara, just to clarify, so is that the best way for somebody to find your group? Is to go on to is to look for your Facebook page or your Twitter feed?
Yeah, our website. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, so as you're sharing, I'm sorry, that's the one thing I forgot to ask. Please share how people can find your group and how they can connect with you.
Yeah, so for the Asian American group, we have a Facebook page, and it's wonderful. It is the best page out there, and frankly, it's clearly the best. Check it out. Also check out aarmn.org, so Asian American Republican Minnesota.org. And it's a way to get involved and just hear about the events we're going on. We don't have a monthly meeting quite yet, but we do have events periodically throughout the year. So it's a way to get on the email list and be able to hear more about it. And frankly, one of the biggest things you can do is if you have Asian Americans who want to get involved or hear about it from your different friend groups, those are the people you should ask about it. I think it's a really strong challenge to say, I want you to check this out. I want you to give this an opportunity because I think it's a good group together that we can actually see this change happen among the Asian Americans. So again, that's aarmn.org. So.
Aaron?
The College Republicans, definitely, we have a lot of fun. Best way to reach out to us is going to be probably social media. Minnesota College Republicans or MNCRs on Twitter. There's lots of great stuff on there. Lots of funny stuff, not just boring information and pictures. So check us out on there, definitely. I just say it's best to get involved, even if you're not a college age. You can be an honorary College Republican. Come hang out with us. We have a lot of fun. Invite us to, if you have a BPOU meeting, if you have a parade you want us to help walk in, find somebody in the area, or even if we have to travel, sometimes we'll be able to do that, and we'd love to come help out, bring some youth, bring some more energy to the group, and we have a great time, and we appreciate getting involved around the state and helping everybody out we can.
So for those of you who would like to relive your college days, this is a great opportunity.
Oh, perfect.
We have individual meetings on chapters around the state of Minnesota, so if you check out our Facebook page or our Twitter page, get involved and say kind of where you are, where you're located. We'll get you in touch with whoever's closest to where you are. Yes, we definitely have a U of M one. Yep.
As far as the Hispanic Republican Assembly, we also have a website, so it's HRAM, Hispanic Republican Assembly, mn.org, so HRAM. So we'd love to have you guys reach out to us. We would love to have you at one of our meetings. Come have some margaritas with us. We have an amazing little restaurant that we usually meet at, so we have a lot of fun. You know, these are very challenging times and issues, but we try to enjoy ourselves and try to make best of, of the times, and put our heads together to come up with some ideas. Also wanted just to mention too that with the folks down in Houston, as much as we're enjoying ourselves here, there's people that are really in dire straits down there needing our help big time. So I hope that in this challenge that we can roll our sleeves up and help some people that have really lost like everything. So just wanted to plug for that as well. And I don't know, other than that, thank you for the opportunity to present here today. I think it's been wonderful. Really looking forward to continue to be part of the party and connecting with the general public. We wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you for your support.
So, Ben, is there anything that your group is doing specifically for Houston relief efforts that you want to folks to
I would
connect
love to do that. Individually, I have, but it would be great if our organization did as well.
Okay, so it sounds like, once again, some great opportunity here. Well, I would like to thank all of our panelists for being here today. Give them a big round of applause. They were wonderful. Gave some great information. We learned a lot.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank all of you for coming out here and for being involved and engaging with them. Really, I'm sure, and I think that I'm going to speak on behalf of them. I haven't asked them this yet, but I assume that they're going to be here for a little bit and would love to meet all of you in person. So if any of you would like to come up afterwards and chat with them, then I'm sure they would love to. They would love to connect with some of you one-on-one. Okay, and then somebody else is going to come up and speak a little bit.
Not so much speak as just give kudos to you guys. As Mike has pointed out, we go to a lot of fairs in CD4, and I'm one of the old white guys he was referring to. But it was always out there, and when the affiliates come to the booth and help work with us, it just changes the dynamic hugely. You guys are a lot of fun. You're great people to work with and meet, and I just have loved working with all of the affiliates. It's been great. But I do like pizza.
I was going to say, so far I've heard of pizza, some snacks, and I think somebody stepped up the game with margaritas though at the end. So I don't know. You guys are going to have to choose wisely, but I don't actually think you have to pick. You can be part of any of the groups, right? So I encourage everybody to get involved and to come on and learn a little bit more about how that can happen. In the meantime, though, please, as I said, come up and chat with these folks, get to know them a little bit better. And thank you again for coming out, and have a wonderful day at the fair.